I'm probably going to string together a couple videos from yesterday, just short ones that I've been taking from this morning and yesterday, just a couple quick ones at the end of this, because I see everything that's happening right now and the things that I'm talking about and feeling as like part of the messages, because my own experience and the things that I'm thinking about and that are getting downloaded into my mind and everything, it's all just like miraculous. Even love and harmony. The well, this is actually very cool because there is a well on this estate, and there's a castle across the way, and that the castle is closed to us. It's sort of an abandoned property from my understanding of it, but when they did restoration on this villa and the surrounding areas, they actually discovered that the well here, it goes underground, and there's a passage that goes all the way to the castle, which used to be a monastery. And when they were doing the restoration, they found a skeleton of a fetus down there. I'm sorry, not a fetus, an infant. So there's a little story. Oh, I've been waiting for the morning. Well, I guess I'm going to attack on the video that I took when I was walking, but I've been waiting for the morning where I just like pop up right at 6 a.m. and I'm like, I'm ready. And today was that day. So I feel remarkably vibrant today. And, Italy, carbohydrates. I typically don't eat as many carbs as I'm eating, which can have an inflammatory effect. And I do have a chronic knee condition. So it's been a little hard adjusting to, my vacation diet, and with, some of the heat, with swollen joints and whatnot. But so today, the grade of the hill, the steepness is approximately 38 degrees, which is a steep hill. So it just felt really good to move my body. Plus the views were phenomenal. It exceeded my expectations, because all the people at my residency, they're like, going for the morning trek up the hill. And I was like, let's see what this hill is all about. All right, I'm gonna keep this pretty simple and short. I've said on every video that I've ever recorded that's gone on for like an hour, but I really mean it, which I also say and then never stick to. I'm sick of this card. I see it every single day when I pull cards, but that's okay, because we're in a thing right now. And consistency is actually kind of beautiful to detect and speak on, right? And I said this a few days ago, that every day feels different, but because we're in a new experience of the same stuff that's taking shape around us right now, not to mention the things that are, there's large cycles, and then there's smaller cycles, and then there's medium cycles happening, all kind of coalescing and converging and branching off. And by that, I'm talking about like, Mercury moved into Cancer. It's Cancer season. Mercury being about communication and the messaging of how things feel within ourselves, communication internally, mind, body, soul, spirit. I hope the camera picks that up. I don't think it did. Two little butterflies just did like a dance and fluffled out towards me. As I was saying, spirit, and I've been thinking about the words psyche and butterfly and transformation and soul. Gosh, another thing that doesn't really need to be said on video is like, I pick a cover image for these videos, and then I have 2 YouTube accounts, and then if I go to access this one from my personal account, all the videos are like screen grabs of me like mid-speech, and they're like really bad thumbnail photos. And so that's a shame. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. It is what it is. So it's a good time. We're actually in a supportive energy to communicate feelings and emotions to ourselves. How do you really feel about X, Y, and Z? But also, oh my gosh, you just can't. I should probably just stop doing card pulls because there's nothing new here. It's all just going to be, the same. 10 of Swords, right? Just sinking into the truth even more of the endings and the things that we are not entertaining anymore. And what I think when we stop doing things that we've done a certain way for a long time is that there's inevitably this phase, sort of kidding yourself, but the Seven of Swords is going to come out again, right? You kind of, your energy, your heart, one could say in the fifth dimension, you've already deviated from this way, but it hasn't trickled down and manifested into your physical reality yet because of how I speak of like water traveling the same old path, water carving through the earth, right? The rut, the path of least resistance. It's what you're used to. It's what you do. And then the discomfort is when you kind of have to like merge those two realities and be bold enough to make those new decisions and changes. Okay, so again, that's like Two of Wands. We've had Two of Pentacles in the past few days, Two of Cups a couple times. Two, right? It's no longer the monad, the one, the self. You're like me and my life, me and the world. It becomes a dialogue. It becomes more conversational because in each and every moment, however dialed in you want to be, maybe just on a daily basis, you're like, okay, in the evening, I will have a little bit more of an intentional self-reflective period where I write out, how I feel about my day and what I could have done differently. Or you can literally be doing it in the moment as time passes, which is kind of how I tend to live my life because I've been thinking this way for so long. Oh, I just can't say enough too about how fortunate it is to be surrounded by the people that I'm surrounded with, and it's not just meeting these incredible people. It's the fact that like I'm walking through the Italian countryside asking questions about how I can price my artwork, and tax deductions for an art business, and like the questions that I haven't had good counsel on. Just amazing information, amazing scenery, amazing people, amazing time in life. Judgment. I'm gonna read from the book on this one, but I'd like to get 2 more cards. She came out 2 days ago or yesterday. Something else for this, please. Just one more. Take it from the top and take it from the bottom. Wow. 3 of Swords again, that came out yesterday as well. And the High Priestess, you've got to be kidding me. I'm easily amused. Yeah, okay, so some of the same, but a different combination, right? This is a stripped down version of the reading that I did yesterday because we're still having the same conversation and working through the stuff, okay? So again, with the High Priestess, when I was talking about how we kind of kid ourselves and we try to do things the same way, there's that little phase before we can finally break free, and fully accept that there's no more to be done in this way of doing things. We experience the communication between the soul and the mind, especially I'm thinking right now, again, Mercury and Cancer. The High Priestess is ensuring that this comes to us in a variety of ways. So these signs, this notion of this feeling, right? You could talk about vibes, intuition, gut feeling, a mystery to the conscious mind. And for the purpose of strengthening faith, especially because it's almost like, how they say, or a lot of people, I'll just say, when people go through tragedy in life or just deeply challenging things, sometimes a person can have no relationship to a higher power for the majority of their life until they experience something of that nature. That's when they turn to God or go to the church, or they're seeking answers, you know? Sometimes there's no explanations for things without, you know, basically begging for clarity from what's behind all of this. And that's also why I see, you know, judgment, justice, the high priestess. It's because it's not easy, you know? When somebody experiences a loss, say somebody passes away, you want comfort that no other human can give you, you know, that can only come from the beyond, because you no longer exist in the same place as that person that you lost, you know, they're somewhere else. I remember talking with my grandmother about this because she's one of 4 girls. She has 3 sisters. And the first of those 4 sisters, my grandmother's sister, passed away a couple years ago, and we talked about it, and the sister who passed away was a twin. My grandmother wasn't the twin, it was her other sister. And the twin, you know how they, like, twin tuition. I don't know many twins in my life, but there's a connection there that's different from, like, you know, the other siblings. And the twin was concerned about her resting place and her being where she was, where she ended up. So all that to say, this could be in the collective energies and in our lives and what we're going through, and however anybody would take, you know, some of the nuggets and pieces or the themes that I've been discussing in these videos since I got to Italy, in particular. Maybe it's a time right now of the deep polarities of life, like this largely transitional, transformative phase has peaks and valleys, and so we're having to cultivate a renewed, or in some cases new, connection to our intuition and our faith. And it doesn't have to, it can be on your terms, but whether or not you are spiritual or religious, whatever belief, there is something. Sorry, I'm having an idea because I have a sword in one of my paintings, and I'm like, what if I used gold leaf for the sword? Kind of as an homage to these cards. All right, well, I lost my train, but Justice card reveals that an outcome will be determined from the decisions you have made. It is a reminder that future actions can be changed by the lessons you learn in the present. It is an indicator that a decision needs to be made, balance being restored. Again, with 2, right? 2 is a balanced number, but also indicates the need for decisions and discernment, which goes back to what I was saying about assessing things within the moment and making sure that you don't slip into a state of autopilot, so that you don't take another lap on the merry-go-round, you know? Because like dominoes, our decisions create our future, as it's saying. And that, for me, the holographic, the dodecahedronic prism of the self, like constantly just checking out how, you know, the various aspects of your vibration and why you inhabit the space in your heart, in your mind, how you think about others, how you think about what's going on, that you do. Judgment shows when it is time for self-evaluation, you are at a crux for reaching a new life and must purge those things that would hinder you from being rewarded. I mean, that couldn't be more spot on to what I'm talking about. Rebirth, absolution, renewal, and freedom. I used the word renew in reference to renewed sense of intuition. So that's pretty short and sweet for today, 14 minutes. Yeah, I said I wanted to keep it under 15 minutes, but actually I didn't say that out loud. I thought that when it was at 8 minutes and 18 seconds, as I looked up about 5 minutes ago. but I'd like to get one more card. Is there any new energy that needs to be considered as we transition through these passages? I'm so new to YouTube. I'm not really fixated on, I'm working on my messaging and just trying to get better at translating the things that I am being guided to share and do and create within my own life. But I will say that I would always recommend to anybody who ever sees this, if you see this video, to make sense of basically all the videos that I am taking as I'm in Italy for 2 weeks at my artist residency. They're one piece, they're one chunk, they're one experience. I'm just taking videos day by day. But I would recommend that if you find this one as like your lead-in point, to go to the playlist that I created called Italy 2023 and watch all those videos sequentially, because I talk about the same stuff throughout them, but it builds on itself. It builds on itself. No, from the bottom. Lovely, lovely, lovely. The star. And what came up before that was the Eight of Cups. So these are my responses to me asking what's the new information, because all, with the exception of Judgment, all 5 of these cards came out, and you could see the shuffling that went into the preparation for me, like pulling these cards, and the way that I shoo them. I've gotten better at that. I used to not be very good at it, but it's a continuation is my point. And so the addition, Eight of Cups and the Star, this is saying like, okay, so as we are in this phase of, releasing the heartache, accepting the doors that have closed, maybe we're just waiting outside of the door, thinking it's going to reopen. It's not going to. Again, we have to accept that. By that, I mean the way that we used to do things is not going to work in our new chapter, whatever that may mean for you. And you can sit outside the door for as long as you want, and then you're like, I guess it's not going to reopen again. And how that would look, how that would translate to your physical life again is like, you just don't get the same gratification, or satisfaction or results or whatever it is from the old way of doing things. Okay, so this is strategizing and whatnot. We've got, creativity, it's ideas, it's these unpursued lands that we have the potential to access. But, there's water here, a body of water. It's far away though. Here, he's got a wand, but this is a Cups card, right? So this is about emotion and Cancer season, water sign emotions flowing with regard to how we communicate them to others and ourselves, with Mercury in Cancer. So what I'm getting off of this is that as we look for our new life, if you want to put it real simply, we need to think about how we want to feel. That's going to dictate where we want to go. And you see, this is a nighttime card. That's the moon. The moon is big. The moon is big. So this is kind of implying we do this in the illumination of the unseen, right? The moon being the subconscious, the intuitive state. Again, like basically it would be a call to tap into divine feminine energy, which I talked about the first day I got here as like connecting with a version of myself that's like 111 years old, and she's just like very caring and very understanding. Having that position with your inner dialogue for your own benefit of being honest. She's not enabling, she's firm, she's nurturingly assertive, right? Within yourself to think about the feelings aspect of this. And it has kind of this melancholic vibe to it, and I think that's because we've potentially been dragged through the mud a little bit emotionally recently, and that could mean a lot of different things for a lot of different people. But it's almost like emotions again. I don't want to deal with this. Like, there's been too much emotional stuff lately. Well, too bad, because I see one of those like all seasons Jeeps. We're just going right into the swampy, murky, lake of emotion, because that's what happens when we get into Cancer season. And people who have Cancer placements are like, fa la 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 la. Like, I thrive at this time because I'm a fish in water. I'm a water sign. Other water signs I've noticed, and as I've talked to people throughout my life, have different relationships to Cancer season, but like by contrast, coming out of Gemini season, I have a very good Gemini friend, and we are, in fact, we kind of straddle the Cancer Gemini cusp border together. Our birthdays are 4 days apart. But I was like all in my head, and like totally like when in a cartoon, if the roadrunner like phew, like goes by and then the person is just like left like spinning around, that was me in Gemini season. And I needed to be in that space because of how I was shifting out of spring and the Taurian energy, the Taurus season. It's really lovely how, and I didn't realize this until kind of embarrassingly recently, but if you look at the calendar year, you look at the zodiac signs, and you look at how, January, February, people's birthdays, right? You're what does it start with? I'm sorry, I'm blanking. Aries, right? And then we go through them all, and we end up with Pisces. There's a pattern. It goes, the elements, right? They go in order. And that had never really dawned on me before. And that's beautiful, because as we move through the calendar and the year, right, and this spiral ascension of like these cycles of our lives that we have no control over, right? Whether or not we want to, the leaves, we want them to, the leaves will fall off, the flowers will die, but then they'll come back. We're naturally kind of spun in these cycles where it ties into what I was talking about yesterday or 2 days before with, in the summer, things are more like open and vulnerable. Like the flowers are open, the ground is more easily penetrated with a shovel, for instance. Everything has its season, everything has its time. Okay, so part of the reason why this transformative dawn is occurring in our lives is because it correlates with the energies that are at play right now. And it's not the most comfortable energy for everybody to swim in, but as a Cancer who loves emotions and the beauty of the vastness of the human emotional spectrum, I'm here to tell you that it's safe, right? You're held by the universe. It's safe to go there. Where do you want to go? He'll figure it out. He'll figure it out. He needs to think about how he wants to feel and let that guide him. This can be hard for people who are head over heart, or their lives created a need for them to be head over heart, or the evidence of their lives showed them that it was right to be head over heart. I am heart over head to my own detriment, but it is also, my strength. A lot of Cancer sun signs will relate to that, or any Cancer placements, I don't know. So the star is the light you seek when you enter a new phase of life. She reminds you that you are connected to the universe and that all wisdom you seek is available. The star shows you that now is the time to embrace new ideas and growth, renewal, hope, serenity, and clarity. So, yeah, it's perfectly backing up the things that are coming through for me that I've been talking about. But the hope is what I want to leave this message off with, because through the pain and the discomfort of great transitions in life, bittersweet energy is coming through. And when you finally get to, I talked about like, I don't want to deal with the emotions again. Like, I'm so exhausted. When you get to a point of finally being able to look down the pike of hope, or like, it's over, whatever it is, it's over. And now, I kind of have to muster up some energy and move forward. The way you do that is by just kind of like each and every day, little bits of seeds of like hope, or evidence of progress, even in the smallest ways. We fail to recognize the small W's, right? We are allowed to celebrate each incremental sign of progress or growth. And this is indicating that we're getting very, close to a time where we'll be able to feel really naturally positive again. And that serenity, right? It's a tempered happiness that isn't untethered. It's a reasonable, well-earned happiness that's aligned. It's located in the true direction of our soul. It's not the, again, Seven of Swords energy from the reading I did yesterday or 2 days ago, that cheated energy, right? The lies we've told ourselves that have kept us stuck. It's true. And when it's true, when it's aligned, it's not in danger of exiting your life or becoming, tainted or, And so there's a peace or a subduedness around these things that are meant for us. And I'm also seeing, I don't know how this will work with like censorship, but I'll cover her breasts. What I'm seeing, she's topless, she's liberated, she's enjoying the water, and barefootness, so connected to the earth. But there are many avenues of water flowing into the stream. The water comes from all directions. And this connects to something that I didn't share via video, but it was an experience I had yesterday when I was reading my Science of the Akashic Field book. And I was thinking about how I feel as if, especially when I travel, especially when I get into these creative vortexes where I'm allowed to create without, interruption, it is as if the barriers between myself and my energy and the things around me, so the ethers, right, my guides, my nature energy. I have a strong past life series of memories about just being the spirit of the cedar tree in pre-colonial North America. And I can see the land, I can feel not like what it felt like to be in the body of a tree, because that's not really how it works, right? Because my consciousness wasn't like stuck in the trunk. It's the passage of time. It's like just hundreds and hundreds of years just go by, and those cycles that I spoke on, right? The earth, the land, the animals, there is much less boundary energetically in these natural energies. These things, they speak to each other. They say that if you put a plant, you get a new plant, you want it to survive, you take care of it, put it with other plants, because they like to be around other plants. Plants will do better when they're around other plants. So I was thinking about how when I get into these states, it's as if I'm not just in my own body, right? My energy is able to connect with the things around me. That's other people's energies and sometimes thoughts in a telepathic manner, but also the ethers in the universe, which guides my intuition and gives me all of the information and messages that I get. And so I see her, right, her top, she's like these emotions, she's kind of like merging into her landscape because of how at ease she is with where she's at, right? She's comfortable with the emotional waters. No blockages. And I see these purple lines in the background too, right? They come from a star. It's like a curtain of sky. I see that as like wind. So air energy as well. And whenever I see bare feet, I think of earth energy, because that has to do with grounding and connecting our energy into earth. So a synergistic time of allowing yourself to kind of blend with your environment and maybe the people around you. And then again, we have Two of Cups. For harmony and fulfillment and love. Hanged Man, who we saw yesterday, but all right, that's it. Just out for a morning walk. There's vineyards on either side. I actually don't know what this is. I'm assuming it's more vineyard stuff because there's one down the way. Yesterday was a really big day for me creatively. And it's funny because I talk about needing to be like settled into a place for a lot of different reasons, like the jet lag or the energy, the weather, the way your joints feel. And I'm exactly at halfway through my trip in my painting residency. And I've always been yearning for the early mornings where I can just like wake up magically and I feel really vibrant and I'm ready to go. That's just not the way that it's been. I've slept in every single day and gotten off to a very late start. And I kept saying, it's the same way that I feel about my paintings. Like, I really need to finish this one commission, but I keep telling myself, like, you know what? When the day's right, I'll wake up and I'll be like, I'm ready. I'll be in that headspace. Look how pretty this is. But it hasn't been the right time yet. And, oh, here's my belly button. Speaking of structures of the multiverse collapsing in on themselves and rebirthing, that's like a nod to those shapes. There's just butterflies everywhere. But so basically, I've clicked into something greater, and I just woke up this morning magically at 6:30. Well, no, I think my alarm went off, but it has every other morning too. But I haven't been able to get up for it. And yeah, all this to say, you need to give yourself time to adjust to things. Don't judge your process. Trust the process. And keep your expectations realistic. I'd love to wake up every single day at 6:30 now, but tomorrow will be a new day. And whatever it may bring, it is welcome by me. There's a beetle. All right. This hill is about to get so steep. So I'm gonna go because I can't catch my breath. I'm taking a lot of videos today, but I'm having a lot of ideas. I could do that so you could see me, but I like the sun. And okay, it's a song synchronicity. Suddenly I See by KT Tunstall popped into my mind. And a lot of the stuff, like, it's cool because I intended to do this, but like uploading videos from Italy in real time, like, I think I am finding my flow. I have another week left of being here, which is amazing because it takes a week to kind of adjust to big travel, as I talked about, and that has to do with like jet lag and stuff, sure, but also just the energy of it and everything I've mentioned in the past few videos that I've been saying about, like, you know, everything. Like, the architecture is different here. It's from medieval times or whatever, the Middle Ages. Like, there's just, it's cool, and everything affects you, which is why it's hard to be in America. You know, there's that trend on TikTok or Instagram right now where people will splice together two clips, and it's like, turns out I wasn't depressed, it was just America. And then it shows them like in a tuk-tuk in Thailand, like riding around. Yeah, I relate to that. I know that I'm not depressed, but things have been challenging in life. Prior to coming on this trip, I worked through some deeply challenging personal things, and that is what I view as my personal, you know, that's the end of one chapter, and now we're in this, you know, birth canal, as I've been mentioning, and we're moving into a new chapter. And so suddenly I see that song. It's like, her face is a map of the world. You can see she's a beautiful girl. Everything around her is a silver pool of light. People who surround her feel the energy of it. He holds you captivated in her power. Suddenly I see, this is what I wanna be. I could probably just sing the whole song, and I should. And I'd like to. But my point is, and how I can relay this to be a collective message would be like, I feel like I'm looking into the shaft of my future, you know, into the light of who I want to create myself as going forward, the lessons that I've learned. It's like all of the tarot card readings I've been pulling on have all these different parts about needing to balance things and take stock of things, cut out things that don't serve us, but move forward and create things that do serve us. And so the epiphany for me and what I'm being blessed with moving forward is being able to choose and create that. So that was a short video, but I will post it anyway. Okay, so I'm tacking on even more to this than I thought I would. It's the same day as I recorded the tarot reading at the beginning of this video, but I came to the studio and I wanted to work on this one. I'm in my butterfly series now. But I made this instead. And I actually wanted to, I keep talking about houses of cards and things collapsing in on themselves. So I wanted to do either like a really drippy butterfly that was like just oozing into the primordial soup. This is just a cool sketch, actually. I like it. And I like how juicy that looks like as a bud. But I did this instead. Oh, so either dripping away the butterflies like lava oozing, or making it more sharp and splintered and like playing cards or tarot cards or the house of cards that I reference on occasion. But okay, so I just want to touch on this quickly because if you've never heard of the Mandelbrot set, Google it. Mandelbrot, the Mandelbrot set. It's a fractal, okay? And it looks, I mean, these little branches, these are, I mean, loosely interpreted of one half of the Mandelbrot set, as is this thin line, the shape of that. So it's a fractal where if you zoom in, you can keep going and going into the arms of it. You know what? I can just show it. I have pictures here. Here it is. So it's a very fuzzy resolution, but that is it, right? And so there's different y-axis and x-axis that it can reflect across. And the idea is that once you get into this outside territory, you enter something called the Julia set. Shout out to my friend Julia. And this goes on forever, right? Because then there are more coming off, and then as they get bigger, as they bloom out, there's more. So that's kind of an infinite thing that you could go into, but also, of course, Spiral Arm Galaxy. This isn't finished. I'm actually quite disappointed with the spatial planning here. I'm not quite as in my zone as I was when I was doing these yesterday, so that means that I get in my own way when I'm trying to channel out the artwork, and it takes a little bit more of my conscious effort. But what I'm gonna do is go in with like a more fully saturated color palette. So, you know, some blues, some purples, seafoam green, yellow, and aquas and pinks, and kind of suss these out a little bit better. But as far as the passage that I read from the book, The Science in the Akashic Field, the other day, talking about these blooms that basically go on forever through time and continue to self-educate via the process of creating and collapsing experience, and the minutia, right down to the very detail of that. So that's every created thing, idea, thought, person, atom, cell within the bloom informs the whole. Also alluding to like Russian dolls, right? The nestedness. This is as above, so below, pyramidal structure. I was gonna make it into kind of more of one of these guys, but for some reason that's how it came out. Also shells, because we can often see the growth pattern of shells expressed in a spiral. There's a quote, oh please, Buckminster Fuller, I don't think that's right, but what was said was all life is in motion, all motion is curvature, all curvature is spiral. I botched that, that's not exactly how it goes, but basically that's where I'm at today. So I think once it has like a full rainbow quality, and just also kind of like rendering these up a little bit better, I'm gonna do a similar thing with these wings that kind of make them feel like real black edges, but then it gets real light, and then you'll start over with the black for this one, real light, so that each layer looks like it's glowing. Yeah, another reason I can tell that I wasn't in like a more grounded state of channel for this was because of the asymmetry. I typically like just doing these little guys by hand, cranking out those butterflies pretty quickly. I can nail symmetry, and because it's not perfectly symmetrical, this wing is bigger and it extends further than that way, and this one is more cramped. You know, you can see this goes out on an angle, this more so goes straight down. Those little things irritate me, and even if you didn't pick up on it right away, that's actually how we read and register art and proportions and stuff in nature. You know, the eye, the brain does detect it, even if you're not conscious of the fact that you're detecting it. But yeah, quick share.